I am Wild Humphrey, and they call me the Fact Master, because I'll tell you all those things you never knew you didn't know. Some that you do, but I'm faster than Google, and everything I tell you is from up here, and that is a fact. And today, I need to tell you about the last woman ever to be executed in Great Britain after being found guilty of murder. Her name was Ruth Ellis. Now, Ruth was born in 1926 on October the 9th, and she was born in Rhyl in North Wales. And by the age of 15, Ruth had left the quiet life of Rhyl behind and gone to the big city and the bright lights of London. Fast cars, music, more people, nightclubs, dancing, it was all going on, and Ruth wanted to be part of it. So that was the life she chose. But as we know, all of us, all that glistens is not gold. And so Ruth found out she had a tough time making her way in the big city. She took any jobs that she could. She loved entertaining. She was a dancer, singer, worked in nightclubs, behind bars, got to know an awful lot of people. She was married, had 2 children, divorced, numerous boyfriends, you name it. At one point she was even a lady of the night, so to speak. She had to do what she had to do to earn a living, feed herself and her children. And then she met a guy called David Blakely. And at first, everything was going well. She thought, this guy's wonderful, but didn't last long. David Blakely is the kind of guy, or was the kind of guy, who, if you were a parent, you wouldn't want him anywhere near your daughter, ever. But Ruth didn't have this protection around her. She only saw the good in this guy. And the relationship went on, and the longer it went on, the more abusive David Blakely became towards Ruth. He would beat her up in public, you name it, he would do it to her. Even to the point where in January of 1955, Ruth was pregnant with her 3rd child, and Blakely punched her so hard in the stomach that she miscarried and lost her baby. But she couldn't forgive him for this. But the abuse didn't stop there, it just carried on and on. Then got to a point in April of that year where this young woman had had enough. She couldn't get any help anywhere, it seemed, so what did she do? She got herself a handgun. And it was Easter Sunday, the 10th of April that year. She went out in the evening to find David Blakely, and she had a good idea where he'd be. She saw his car parked outside the Magdala pub, and she waited for him to come out. Out he came just after 9 o'clock, no doubt on his way somewhere else, and Ruth called him, and he ignored her call, so she shouted loud. Then he turned and she walked up to him, right by his car, pulled out a gun and shot him. And she kept shooting until there were no bullets left in the gun, and Blakely was dead on the ground. An off-duty policeman saw the commotion, came running over and arrested Ruth right there and then, took her to the local station, where Ruth admitted by a statement what she'd done. Well, the public, the press, lots and lots of people got to hear about this story, and those around the circle of friends that she had knew this guy had been really abusive and really felt for the situation Ruth was in and tried to help. But there was not much they could do. Ruth ended up in court on the 20th of June that year. The prosecuting barrister, a guy named Christmas Humphreys, asked her just one question. He said to Ruth, what was your intention when you fired that gun at David Blakely? And she says, well, obviously intended to kill him. With those words, or those words to that effect, their fate was sealed. Her defence barristers were pretty hopeless. They offered no real support or help. She was found guilty by a jury within 20 minutes of them going away. 20 minutes. When they came back, the judge wasted no time putting on his black cap and sentencing Ruth to death by hanging in Holloway prison. Ruth never really saw the light of day again. Then on the 13th of July, this young 29-year-old woman who'd did all she could to defend herself against this abusive partner was hanged. And the hangman was a guy named David Pierpoint. And David Pierpoint had hanged lots of people. And when he hanged Ruth, he actually left her hanging there for over an hour. Which is terrible, but that's what he did. Ruth's body then was thrown into a grave that was unmarked within the prison grounds. And that's what they did in those days. Some years later, they finally gave her a proper place of burial near home. But on a headstone, they gave her the name Ruth Hornby. Well, that wasn't a name at all. Her two children were devastated by all of this. And in fact, in 1982, her son, Andrew, went to Ruth's grave and smashed this headstone to pieces. And after he did that, he committed suicide. This woman, 29 years old, was found guilty in as fast as time anyone had ever been found, executed in no time at all, left hanging for an hour, and no one seemed cared a jot. The name Ruth Ellis, the 13th of July 1955, was the last woman ever to be executed in Britain, and that is a fact. Albert Pierpoint, the guy who hanged her, he lived in Southport, and in Southport there's a museum, and it's a lawnmower museum of all things. And in that museum is Albert Pierpoint's lawnmower, and people go there to see the things people do. But this story been about a young girl born in Rill, ended up in the big city, the bright lights of London, forced into a corner. All she could do to find a way out was shoot and kill her abusive partner, and that cost her her life, and that is a fact. I am Wild Humphrey. Thanks for watching this. Please subscribe to my channel, I'll be back with much more to share with you, and that is a fact. In the meantime, take it easy, and thanks for watching. Cheers.